Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us. We will go ahead and get started with our demonstration. In just a couple of minutes, we'll take care of just a smidge of housekeeping. Welcome to today's demonstration of ClubExpress for Investigative Associations. I'm Samantha. I'm the Director of Education, and today I'm joined by one of our account managers, Will, who's going to give today's demonstration. So, like I said, a little bit of housekeeping first. Your microphones are muted, so if you have any questions, feel free to enter them in the chat. I'll answer those as they come up, and we'll also, of course, have time for Q&A at the end of the session. A recording of this webinar will be available on our YouTube channel just within a couple of days. So if you aren't able to stay on for the entire thing, or if you want to share a link with the rest of your board or team, you'll have that option. And of course, while you're on our YouTube channel, if you would like to take a moment to explore some of the other tutorials and webinars that we have available, it'll give you a much more rounded, a much more detailed and deeper view of the features that Will is going to take us on a tour of today. So without further ado, Will, I'll go ahead and pass it off to you.
Thank you, Sam. I appreciate it. Good morning for my Pacific folks, and good afternoon for anybody that may be on the East Coast or in the Midwest. I am here today to do exactly kind of what Sam said, give you a 20,000-foot view of ClubExpress and how we work with a lot of our licensed private investigator associations and so forth. So first and foremost, I'd like to thank all of you for your time. I know some people can't be here due to some traveling obligations, but this link will be recorded, and as soon as we get that recording up, I'll make sure to get it out to those folks who needed it. For those who are here with us, thank you for your time. I'm glad that you've chosen to spend it with myself and Sam. And as I stated, I'm going to take you through a 20,000-foot view of the system and overall get granular in some areas that I think that are important to the kind of investigations associations as a whole. Let me start off giving you a little insight about who ClubExpress is and what we do. We're a Chicago-based software company. We were established in 2003. And what we provide is a cloud-based solution for associations similar to you guys' organizations. We were released in 2004. We're currently on version 67, and I think we just had, if I'm right, Sam, our release of the kind of the overview of version 68 this morning. Was that correct?
We postponed it just a smidge. We wanted to see if we could squeeze in just a few more updates, but it is really, really close to the pipeline.
Awesome. So we're on our way to 68, which is a great thing. And we usually release a update to the system every 3 or 4 months. Sometimes it's a lot of free things. Sometimes it's bug fixes. But for the most part, we continue to try to grow in the right way as we get feedback from our customers on how to get better. So that's kind of what the updates consist of. Now, the whole tool itself, it's an online tool. So all you got to have is an internet connection in order to use ClubExpress platform. No matter if you're on a desktop, laptop, mobile devices, we service thousands of organizations worldwide via those hardware components. And we've got over about 500,000 users that benefit from ClubExpress. And we work with several private investigator firms, CALI, which is the California Association Licensed Investigation, NCISS National. So like I said, we understand and we've got our head wrapped around kind of how you guys as an association use the platform. The platform itself is actually broken up into 4 components. Since it's an online tool, we've got to talk about the look and the feel. There is a look and the feel to it from a website perspective that we can allow you guys to build yourselves, or you can take the advantage of having our design team build out a look and feel for you. You can also use our tool just as a member portal. So if you've already invested in a website and you just wanted to use our system as more of a member portal that would happen through a redirect, you're able to do that as well. Now, like I said, it's broken into 4 components. There's an online piece, and then you've got a public area, which is just an area of inviting individuals to take a look at your association, maybe search for information that you may be providing to the public. And then you've got a private area, which is driven by a user login and password, meaning somebody would be a paying member or a member of some sort to be able to get into that area. And that area is, like I said, going to be entered through a username and a password that would allow people to log in. So what we're going to be exploring today is kind of what you see here on the screen. We'll cover a little bit of the public area, which is the home page, some custom pages that you might throw up, the calendar, possibly a contact us page if you all have a contact us page, and then the member area. We're going to cover a little bit about how a member would use it, the different type of modules that are available in ClubExpress. But the goal overall is going to be able to get you guys to the control panel, the admin side. So as board members of associations or organizations, we want to show you how you would use it in your everyday kind of life when it comes to managing people, memberships, creating these custom pages for look and feel, your treasurers covering financials, and any administrators or coordinators that you might have that may help with support or communication. So we're going to jump in, and first I want to highlight, a very, very great relationship that we have with the California Association of Licensed Investigators. Now I'm on their website now, and the reason I'm highlighting this partnership is, one, it's a very valued partnership for ClubExpress. Two, I think a lot of individuals that are in your space would use it kind of how they use it. They use it twofold, right? They use one piece for public service, being able to get out the information to public, to connect investigators with the public, to share information, to host events, and just professional development, right? And then there's a second piece for a member that can come in and be a part of this association, that can promote their services, but can also continue education through these services, who can become part of, professional development classes, attend events, things like that. So I'm really happy with the partnership that we've built with Cali over the couple of years that they've been on the system, because they've done some really, really awesome things. And one of the awesome things that they've done here is their Find an Investigators module. Now that module is something that we build, and I'm going to make this just a little bit bigger for folks. The Find an Investigators module is something that we've done for all of our licensed investigation organizations, and it's really driven by the search criteria that each individual association needs. In this case, Cali's opted to go with first name, last name, city, town, languages spoken. And then here's where it gets very granular for your world. Certifications. They can search for investigators by certifications. They can also search for investigations by specialties. So if I wanted to just kind of, be a public member saying, hey, I'm looking for an investigator that may specialize in banking and accounting fraud, and I could search that as a public member, and then that would give me a list of investigators that I'm searching for, and they would just all populate and show exactly, kind of who I'm looking for, if they had certifications, if they were Spanish speaking, French speaking. I can search by any one of these criteria, and actually it would list those individuals. So keep that in mind when you guys are thinking about ClubExpress, is could you use something like this, whether it be from the internal piece or from just a public service piece, to be able to link the private investigators that you may have with just regular outside public members. I'm going to jump over to the demo and show you exactly how kind of all this works. So this is a demo site that we use. It's all fake data, and there's a lot of great data in here, and this is why I use this site. Now, what we're looking at is actually the public-facing side. So you all, as an association, you can share as little or as much information that you want to the public, up to you. You may want to have a homepage where you're showing your upcoming events, maybe newsletters, just general information. You're going to have some pages like about the association, your philosophy on things, maybe you want to highlight some of your committees. These are all things that you would probably want to promote to the public. Opportunities to join as a member, a contact us page of some sort where you would want to have people reach out and contact your individuals that are in charge. But again, the public side of things is really driven by how much or how little you as an organization want to share. Now, where the real key is for a lot of these types of organizations is what's behind the member login. And if you can see up here in the top right-hand corner, if I wanted to log in as a member, I would simply click the login. Now, this is automatically logged me in, but typically what would happen, it would take me to a page where it asks for my username and password. I'd plug that in, and then it would log me in. So now we're looking at ClubExpress from an end user's perspective, somebody that's a member in your organization. All right. First thing I want to show you is that right away that the menu items have changed. Now we're inside a private area coming from the public area, and we've done that through that login process. The first thing I want to show everyone is that every individual in your organization, member, will always have a profile. And really the mantra here at ClubExpress is we want the member to manage themselves, right? So that member can come in and see a high-level view of their profile. They can see what type of member they are, what status, current expiration date, the member number that they may have if you guys use member numbers. Sometimes I know badge numbers or PI numbers are involved, but there's a lot of things that they can do within this profile that I think is vital. And one is managing their own information. Now, this is information that's required for a member to sign up to your organization. And it may look very different in your world. Here's the general that we require: first name, last name, primary address, emergency contact, work info. But if you have additional data questions that you would like to ask, what certifications do you hold? Do you have any interest in volunteering for our organization? You can continue to add on additional member data for people to answer. That way you can capture that during membership sign up. But ultimately what this is a tool that becomes a driver for your information to always be up to date, and it's managed by the member themselves, so you're going to get the right correct information. That doesn't mean that the administrator such as yourself could come in here and update that information for them. You will always have that access. But again, we really want to drive and promote the member to manage themselves. That way we have correct and authentic information all the time. So not only can they do things like that, they can also come in and look at things like histories, transaction histories, whether it's the last 12 months, 24 months, or even all time in your organization. Just as the administration has access to information like this, so does the member. They'll know exactly the dates they were charged for something, the type of transaction, the amount, the status of that payment. For your reference, you'll have a reference number, and then a receipt that they could print out if they needed to print out a receipt for whatever reason. But again, always have a running history of what they do in ClubExpress is what's really powerful for them from kind of a bird's eye view. So they'll always know what's going on, whether that's transaction history, payment and credit history, any events that they've attended through the year, volunteering. Here's a big one. People who want to have that feel good of giving back to the organization that they're in. Not only does this allow you guys to go out and collect volunteers for events that you may be having, continuing education courses where you need speakers and things like that, it allows people to give back, and you guys can track those volunteering hours. But just as you can track them as an administration, the folks who volunteer their hours can see how many hours they've donated. And again, it's sometimes it's a feel-good thing, but sometimes it's just they want to know how much they've given back. And that's really the power of the histories kind of module where they can go in and look at certain things. Another piece is they also have their own photo albums. They can write their own blogs if you deem your members to be able to write blogs about things. But photo albums is it's not often used in the professional side in the license investigations, but sometimes people will put it in their member directory of events that they've attended, training sessions that they've attended, and sometimes it can be a nice highlight for the member directory, and that's what kind of segues us into the member directory itself. So the member directory is what your member decides he or she wants to share in the member directory. Now, they can choose not to list themselves at all, which I highly doubt would happen in your line of business. They can show all information. But again, this is a highlight tool for them to go in and update their profile, their member directory, share their connection points, write a little biography about themselves. And then what would happen is from that directory level, you could come in as a member or somebody in the public, if you made this available to public, you could come in and search an individual by last name, by interest. Now, remember, your search function might look a little more like this, where we can come in here and search by a certain PI number. We could come in and search by a specialty. But what it does is it allows folks to come in and actually see those individuals that are in the organization. And if they were to click on an individual, they could, depending on if that individual has shared a little or a lot of information, they can come in here and see that 20,000-foot view of that specific investigator, or if it's a member within the organization, if they were looking to learn about other, colleagues that they could reach out to or just mingle with and learn about similar interests. So I think it's a really powerful tool for two reasons. One, it connects your public to your investigators. Two, it connects your investigators to other investigators where they may need help in other areas. You may need to reach out to somebody in Southern California or Ohio that you can connect through in your organization through the member directory and focus on their specialty because you may need help on a case. So there's really two powerful pieces to the directory, and I think it's something I always like to talk about because it gives you that added value of being able to have that engagement. Another thing that is really used a lot in the world that you are in are listservs and forums. Forums are built in as well. If you have a listserv, there's obviously options that we can talk about of bringing those over or connecting the listserv to ClubExpress. Now, the forums themselves, they're just threaded forums like you're used to. They can be administered. The board of directors can have their own forum. Committees can have forums, interest groups. And this is just a place for people to go and post threads about things that are going on, maybe new legislation coming through that you guys want to promote and get out to the public, or just things about the job that you guys want to share, tips and tricks or announcements in the organization that you wanted to share with your members and give vital information to where they can respond and get quick access to. You've also got volunteering opportunities. So if you can, like I said, you can create volunteering opportunities. You've got surveys modules built in as well. Now, this is a pretty big one for kind of the world that you all live in a sense where they use it in a couple of different areas. Some people use it to send out, surveys on continuing education classes and what people thought. Maybe if they have a big conference, they wanted to get some information back on the conference that was held and what people thought. Did they like the speakers that were there? Did they like the training sessions? This is just a way to get real-time feedback from your end users and know exactly how you're doing and what you can do to get better. So the surveys modules is a really powerful tool that I think a lot of you will use. And then the other piece is too, if you are doing your board votes, it also has a polling module. So with, internally, you can send out your board votes for the next year or the next 2 years to your members, and they can vote electronically and be able to, come in and vote on things like that. So, again, a really powerful module that I like to highlight, and it's just something that I think is important. Another feature that I want to talk about is the committees feature. I think this is a very, very important feature as well, where you're going to highlight your committees, people like your board of directors or your education class, administrators, event plan, safety manager, whatever you guys are highlighting in your committee. I think this is a very powerful piece for you to highlight those high-level folks that would need to be contacted by an individual member or something like that. So that's just a couple of views from the member side of things or the end user side. The last piece I'll show you that I think is vital, which will tie into the administration as well, is the event calendar. The event calendar is pretty much a robust calendar. It does more than just highlight what's going on. And you can switch different type of list views. If you wanted to go to more of a stacked list view, you could do that. Or if you wanted to keep the grid, you could do that as well. But I'm just going to jump back here a couple of months to where I know I have a 3-day conference. And this has been something that I know Cali uses a lot in their world. Let me just find a conference here where I know. So here you've got a 3-day regional conference. And again, the event calendar works as more than just a date holder, right? If you click into this conference, you all will be able to market your conference. You'll be able to post pictures, talk about the conference. For people coming in out of town, you can host the when and the where and maybe hotels that are in the area for people to stay in. You can talk about activities, who can register, who can't, what breakout sessions are going to be involved. It can even go down as far as offering dinner. And that can be one of the questions you can ask during an event registration is, what type of plate do you want for your dinner? Steak, fish, vegetarian, things like that. So not only does the event show on the calendar, you can talk about and create the event, but you can also have people register and pay for the event right from the event calendar itself. And then the night of, from an administration level, when people are walking up to sign in to come into the event, you can mark those folks attended to an event. So now it's just put you into a position where you know exactly who has attended an event this year. And then you can also keep track of people who attended that specific event, whether that may be tied to some continuing education credits, or just for your own knowledge of knowing who's attended that event, that case you wanted to send a survey out after that event. So these are the types of things that I think your end user are going to really, really enjoy and be able to take advantage of. Now, switching gears into the administration world, where probably most of the folks that are on this call or that watches this recording will fall into. And this is kind of where you live as an administrator of your organization. Now, you'd only have access to this if you were labeled as an administrator in the system or a coordinator of some sort. And that's the control panel button. Now, the control panel button, when you get back here, it may look a little different by the time some of you all come on, because I think in the new release, if I'm correct, Sam, that we're going to have an additional feature here called dashboards, I believe.
That is correct, yes.
And that's just going to be a high-level view of dashboards. And correct me if I'm wrong, Sam. It's just going to be a high-level view of dashboards that you see fit for some of the things that you guys want to report out on. Maybe incoming money for the month, the year, event attendance reports, things like that. Is that correct, Sam?
That is correct. It's a really exciting new feature. I'm pumped about it.
Awesome. So it may look a little different when you get back here, but it won't look much different. Now, every tab across the top has a meaning: people, website, money, organization, communication, support. People is probably going to be driven towards your membership managers. This is where your membership managers will probably spend most of his or her time coming in, looking at high-level views of your database, coming in, looking at the database as a whole, whether it's a member or looking for a non-member. You can search by different statuses. You can also search by, member level, member type, specific phone numbers. But what happens is that search feature gives the membership manager a 20,000-foot view of your database. And it's going to name those individuals in your organization, list out the memberships they hold, the levels of memberships, whether they're a primary or secondary member, expiration date. And then there's a few features here off to the right that are linked to these icons, like adding people to mailing list categories, keeping notes on an account if you needed to keep notes on an account. An administrator could come in here and update somebody's profile for them through clicking this pencil. There's a lot of powerful pieces to being able to have very quick access to your member database. Now, this organization is usually pretty good about nobody owing money, but in this case, there is somebody that owes some money. So for a treasurer's quick view of seeing what outstanding payments you may have out there, they could come in here and quickly pull this up and see, hey, somebody owes some money here. And if we were to click on this $sign, it would let me know, oh, it was for an event registration of $20. Now, this individual, Dave, may have selected that they were going to pay by check for the event. And let's say a week later, Dave's check entered the office and your treasurer took that payment. They could come in here and click that $sign, go into the payment method, and say, I received that check of check number 1245, and we could record that payment. And then when we go pick on Dave again, Dave will no longer have that $ by his name, because we've put that payment in for him, and now that is now in his history as paid. So just a really, really powerful way to come in here and look at a administration level of all your members really quickly, find out what's going on with folks, update folks' information, and keep notes on and know exactly who needs to renew, who's not renewed, things like that. And you can do that again for active members. You can look at expired members that stay in the system. You can look at, if you've got memberships that have to be approved before they become a member, you can come in here and look at a list of all the new prospective members that you may have coming in. Again, a really, really powerful tool of where a lot of your membership managers will live. They've also got reporting features where they can come in and look at different reports in the system. If they need to pull, open renewal reports, maybe they need to print out a contact list for everybody in the organization. But no matter what type of report that you pull, any of the reports, the canned reports that are built into the system, the format that you can output those in are as follows: PDF, HTML, CSV, Word, and Excel. And that's across the board. You've got reports in every one of these tabs under people, website, money, organization. You've got reports that you're going to be able to pull. Now, each report will be different for the criteria, but you can search whatever you're looking for in those canned reports. If you need more powerful and more, in-depth reporting, we have an add-on feature called the ad hoc reporting module. That's going to be things like if you need chain reports, pivot tables, crosstabs, things like that. If you really need a specific report that you need to pull, and then may need that report delivered to a set of people on the same time every month, you'd probably want to look into an extra cost feature of ours called the ad hoc reporting. But a lot of the canned reporting is very, very good reporting for high-level view, very quick access to the certain things that you need. Your membership manager will also be able to come in and do things like create new membership types. Now, the beauty about ClubExpress is you can have as many member types as you want running at once. They can all have different dues, different durations, and you can create them fairly quickly. So as you add on new memberships in your organization, it's as simple as coming in there, adding a membership type. You can name that membership type, describe it. You can also set the duration. You can also say, does it require an approval? Does this membership automatic renew, or do you want it to manually renew? But then you set the fees, and again, you create the membership types that you want with the durations that you want. That is pretty much from the people side of things. This is where you'll ask additional member data questions like we talked about during sign up. There is a lot of power in what your membership managers have access to. As far as your website, your webmasters or your website administrators, they'll probably spend a lot of their time here, where they can update the website look and feel, they can change web graphics, they can update photos, they can add documents to your unlimited document library that you have available. When you come on ClubExpress, you also have an unlimited storage of document library, which is photos, documents, and video storage. So that's another powerful piece and another reason why ClubExpress is so powerful, because in your world, there's a lot of documents that you guys share with each other that you want accessible to not only the public, but to your members as well. Now, board of directors can also have documents that are protected by only you being a board of director. And it would look something like this in your document library. You could host different documents, whether those are old newsletters that you'd want people to come in here and just click on and be able to download and have at their fingertips and read, or if it's board of director documents that are behind a administrator wall that they need to have access to, whether those are policies, procedures, maybe meeting minutes from the last board meeting, things like that. So that's where the website and the webmasters will spend a lot of their time. Money, treasurers, this is where they'll live. They'll come in, they'll be able to check bank account activity, like viewing deposits that were made into the account, dues collected on event registrations or donations, any withdrawals made from the account. They can also do reporting. I'll show you a very quick report that a lot of the treasurers like. They like to come into the member and user transactions, click by type, and say, show me all, member renewal for all of last year or this year or whatever specific date that you're requiring to pull that report on. And then they can just run a report, and whatever they dictate to come out on that report or what they're reporting on, it will give them a very, very quick high-level view of what's happening or what they're asking about. And it'll have a line item, the date, and then the totals at the very end. So it's a very, very unique way for your treasurer to come in and get what he or she may be seeking very quickly. And it's very powerful. And again, if they need a little bit more, they've always got the option to go to the ad hoc reporting tool, which is an extra cost feature. But this is where they'll spend most of their time, looking at financial accounts, updating bank accounts, and things like that. The organization is pretty much where everybody will live. I would like to think that membership managers, webmasters, treasurers, they all find themselves kind of floating through this panel, just because this is where you're going to update administrators and coordinators, give people titles, look at different things like, jobs boards, if you do that, benefit, things like that. So I think everybody will have kind of a sail down this river here. And then in communications, a lot of you might live as well. This is a communications piece because in ClubExpress, you can email unlimited amount of emails that you want out of the system to members and non-members. Now, what a non-member is somebody that's going to be, maybe there's a person in the organization that has somebody that's interested in becoming a member, and they filled out some type of form to give you some information. They haven't quite become a member, but you still want to email market the public events to them, maybe classes that you're giving to the public, or just let them know what's going on in the association. We allow you to keep a certain list of non-members in your database. And it's 5 times the amount of your primary active numbers. So if you had 200 members in your organization, that would give you the ability to keep 1,000 non-members in your database for free that you can reach out and market to. Now, a non-member may also be somebody that you work with in the community. People, maybe companies that sponsor your events that will never become a member, but you still want to be able to email to them about what's going on. So that allows you to keep those type of members in the emailing as well. Now, emailing is a pretty powerful system. I'll cover it really, really quickly. But in the emailing module, you're going to be able to do a couple of different things. You can build out your own. So this would replace something like a constant contact, where you could eliminate that monthly cost. You could come in here and say, hey, I want 2 pictures and some text. I want to put a link to our next upcoming continuing education class, and I want to highlight our social media links. And then you just come in here and you'd click these pencils, you'd add the pictures that you want, you'd add the text that you want, and you'd build out the email for you to go in and then send out to a specific distribution list. Now, this is where ClubExpress sets itself apart from our competitors. We can get very, very granular on who we target. So instead of your days of sending one email out to a large group of people in your organization, we can get very targeted in the emails that we select coming out of ClubExpress. We can lean on people that are all active members. We can lean on people that may have open renewals in the system, but we may have a donation for a fallen investigator or somebody, or, a community tragedy, or even, Mother Nature, right? And you may be wanting to help the community through a donation fund. Let's say that we meet that goal of donations, and the system's smart enough to know who helped achieve that goal by donating to that fund. Well, now it allows us to be able to come in once we've reached that goal and email just the folks who helped us get there to say thank you. So this is where it gets very powerful with ClubExpress on targeting who you need to send your emails to and why. The other piece to the emailing is, if you're a template builder like myself that uses the same templates over and over, you can save those templates and already have them ready to go. Things like your newsletters or your monthly president letters. You can just drag those templates in and they'll already be in there for you to go in and update the text or the pictures that you need to update. But at least the template is built out already for you to go in and complete that. So the communications through ClubExpress, I think, is next to none. It's very, very powerful. We can do a lot of things, and we're only going to get better moving into, some of the things that we're adding down the road. And I'm really excited to kind of see where we go with our communications tool as a whole. Now that ties in with surveys. You'll come in and you'll build your surveys and communication. If you do text messaging, if you're, end up doing an extra cost feature of text messaging where you're pushing notifications via text message or information via text message, that's where all that happens, is in the communication. In the support tab, and I can't talk enough about Sam and her team, who are our continuing education trainers, who are educating folks on how to use the system, who also run our fabulous boot camps that happen. These things are just a day of just a plethora of information and knowledge on how to use the system, how to use modules, and it's just a great way to learn the system. And you still have access to those recordings and that boot camp once you become part of one. But just the support itself, we already have a multitude of videos on our website on YouTube that shows you exactly how to use ClubExpress. And it follows along with those tabs that we talked about: people, website, money. So if your membership manager is outside of the customer service hours and they need to learn how to do something in ClubExpress, they could simply come here and say, hey, I need to learn how to create a committee. And they could just click on the watch on YouTube button, and we've got a 9-minute video that probably Sam or somebody from her team has already completed for them to follow along and just build it in ClubExpress as they're watching the video. Because once you learn how to do one thing in ClubExpress, we really made it very similar to do everything. We hope that we've built the platform to become very repetitive in a sense of learning aspect, meaning you're going to be able to learn very quickly how to build things and set things up. And if you don't know how, you can always come here and watch videos if you're a visual learner like myself. If you're a reader, we also have the manuals here. I would just tell you, if you do a manual, download it electronically, don't send it to your printer, because you're probably going to use a lot of toner, because there's a lot of pages in these manuals. And Sam will back me up on that. But if you're a reader, you can download it and it'll be right at your fingertips to read through the guide. But either way, the support's there. The other piece is the support itself. We only do live support for your administrators, and it's unlimited. They can call in and talk to support about as many times as they want. And support's there to help you guys when you hit a road bump. A support would be something like, hey, Will, hey, Sam, I've created an event and I've added the questions, but the questions are not showing. Could you take a look? Could you help me figure out what's going on? Or I'm getting a weird error code. You're always going to be able to talk to somebody live. We do not do chatbot. We do not do we do email, but it's usually when you're just going back and forth with your support agent. But really the value that we want to offer to you is for you to be able to call in, your administration to call in and talk to a live support agent. We're all here in Chicago. We're based just in the northwest suburb of Chicago called Schaumburg, and we're always able to help via the phone. Now, Sam and her team, if you happen to come into a package with ClubExpress where you get some training hours built in, you'll work with her and Devin, her colleague, to teach you guys the system. Because we do offer some packages where there's training built in, where not only do we build the look and the feel and set up the back end, but we also train the individuals that may be using on your organization level. So that is the 20,000-foot view of ClubExpress. I hope I've covered a lot of different features, some things that we do really, really well. And I implore, everyone to go in and take a look at the California Association of Licensed Investigators. Look at, just look around their website, see how things, I can even put people in contact with my contact there to ask just kind of how they run it and what they think of it. Because there's nothing better than getting real valuable feedback from people who use it every day. And with that, Sam, I will let you take us to the Q&A and close out.
Yes. So we didn't have any chat questions, but there were actually some questions from some of our registrants who weren't able to make it, but are likely going to watch the recording. So I'll fire some of those off. So
Okay.
you talked about board access to forum, but I don't know, and I'm almost certain that you probably said it. But as far as some other things that Will talked about that board members could be given special access to, that would be things like specific events. So you can set up an event that's only going to be visible to certain committee members. You can also set up events to say only these committee members can register for that event. You can also, Will showed us the document library. You can set up document folders that are visible to specific committee members only. So there are a lot of perks that your board can enjoy once you set them up as a committee within your website. And of course, that's all built-in functionality. And I know that we'll also mention some volunteer opportunities. So we do have a built-in volunteering module, and that integrates with a bunch of things on the site. I know that Will took us on a tour of the member profile. So you have your members being able to access their volunteering history through their member profile. They can sign up for volunteering opportunities right on your website, and all of that gets stored in their member histories. You can create volunteering opportunities that are open to both members and non-members. And there's a lot of functionality that goes in that module. So that would be one of those modules that you might want to take a look at one of our tutorials or webinars to take a really deep dive into the functionality of that. And there was also a question about ways to send out newsletters. And I know that Will's talked about some of the communication options. Do you want to talk a little bit about newsletters and emailings, or do you want me to take that one?
No, you can go ahead and take it. That's fine.
Sure. So we actually have a great webinar that we hosted maybe a few months ago about newsletters specifically, and all of the different ways that some of our clubs and associations choose to send out those individual newsletters. I apologize for some background noise. The trash pickup is currently happening right outside my window, so please excuse that. But we do have a lot of different options for sending out newsletters. Of course, we have blast emailing. So plenty of folks just go with a strictly HTML email. We have really, really great, essentially drag and drop functionality that mimics what you might see with Constant Contact or MailChimp. You can send out fully formatted emails to specific groups. We mentioned, being able to set up something like an event for your board of directors. We have dozens of built-in distribution lists that you can use to send out a newsletter to all of your members or an email to a specific group. You can also create an archive of your newsletters on your site in a bunch of different ways. So there are a lot of ways that you can communicate information out to members. We have a built-in news and articles module as well that allows you to that allows you to post news updates and announcements for your association right on your website. So a lot of opportunities there for sharing fun facts, fun news, and updates about your organization. And
Absolutely.
it looks like that might wrap us up for questions. So I'll pass it off to Will and want to say thank you again for joining us.
Yeah, I thank all of you. And if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out. My email is very, very simple. It's will@clubexpress.com. I'd love to talk to anybody who would like to see kind of a more in-depth demo for your organization, or if you just need to speak to some contacts that use our system, please feel free to reach out and I will connect you. So thank you for all of your time. Sam, thank you. And I look forward to the next one.
Bye, everyone.